Alright, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Crypto Wolf back again, and we are doing another little trading view indicator how-to. Gonna show you guys how to draw a Gann fan. If you are not familiar with Gann fans, well, it's a Gann fan. What else do you need to know? Jeez. But if you come over here on your Gann and Fibonacci tools toolbar, and you scroll down a little past halfway, you will see the Gann fan. Or I've heard people call it Gann fan. I don't know. That just sounds funny to me. So I'm calling it a Gann fan. But you have a couple steps you need to take before you draw a Gann fan. But just to give you an idea what it looks like ahead of time here, that there be it. As you can see, it is another way of finding support and resistance levels, this time at angles. So whereas your fib retracement is just straight horizontal lines, or your, time-based fib retracement is the vertical lines, this guy gives you angles. Nice pretty little laser light show. And as you can see from these little numbers here, these are ratios. So back in the day when they used to have to do charting and technical analysis by hand, like hand drawing, I mean, could you imagine? Oh my gosh, that had to have been fun. Not to mention take forever. But you would do it on like a grid paper, and the 1-to-1 here is your main line right there, which also called like your 45-degree angle. Get to all that in a second, but 1-to-1 means that you have 1 unit. It's not a very good example here. 1 unit of time per 1 unit of price, or in other words, 1 square on the grid. And then, over here you would have 1 unit of time per 2 units of price. And over here you would have, oh, sorry, I think I got that backward. I'll show you in a second. This is a not so great example, but when you go to draw, and just unlock this, get everything back to the way you normally would. So you are going to go from your swing low to swing high, or you can do a swing high to swing low, whichever direction you are trying to go, or you can do both on the same little trend, which is generally what I like to do. And what you're going to want to do is you'll end up with this, but I'll show you how we got there. Come on. Okay, so say we took this trend, or this trend right here, and I like to start out with the trend line. So you hold control, snap to your low, hold shift so you are drawing a nice straight vertical line. And you can see the dashed line to the right of the crosshairs where I'm going to that high that we were going to before. Click. If you want, you can do Alt-T, shortcut key for trend line. So now you snap, hold control, snap to this high. Again, hit shift, nice horizontal line. And you're going to line up your little dashed line from the crosshairs on the candle we did for the vertical line. And now you can see we have a nice little corner going, a little half of a box. From here, come over to your trend line menu, and you're going to go to trend angle. In this case, I'm going to snap to the bottom once again. And you can see the numbers changing as you increase or decrease the angle. But if you hold shift, it'll snap right to 45. In fact, let me zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see things a little better. So we're at 45 degrees. And what we want is for this 45-degree angle to intersect our swing high over here. And you have 2 ways to do it. You can adjust your time scale, or you can adjust your price scale, or both. whatever floats your boat, whichever doesn't, over compress your candles, I would say would be the best bet. Now, once you have it intersecting, you're going to want to come down here to the little cog wheel that you can't see. Right. Okay, move this for a second. See the little cog wheel down here at the bottom of, or at the, I don't know, the origin of your scales where the two intersect. You're going to click that. You're going to go to lock price to bar ratio. And what that does is now you can zoom out, zoom in, and it locks the ratio between the time and the price so that you are not screwing up your angle by making, one of these stretch more than the other one, if you will. So now we have our nice little triangle. From here, we can finally go and draw our Gann fan. I'm going to move these back real quick here. All right. Grab our Gann fan. Now say we snap to the bottom. Snap your fingers. Do your step. I swear you could do this all by yourself too. And then snap to your swing high. Because there's really kind of two ways of doing it, and I'll explain the other one in a minute. But what most people will say is you want your 1-to-1 at 45 degrees, which makes sense because now you have a 1-to-1 ratio. You have 1 unit of time per 1 unit of price. You have a square. And over here you have 2 units of time per 1 unit of price. And again, so that means you have, this distance right here in the price, call that 1, is equal to 2 units of time. So, this distance, you would get 2 out of that. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but say you have this guy here would be equal to this guy plus this guy, 2-to-1. And then you can see from there, obviously, you have 3-to-1 as this gets shorter, 4-to-1 as this gets even shorter, and 8-to-1. You have this little one right here would fit 8 times on your time scale. And it's inverted over here, whereas you have 1 unit of time per 8 units of price. But again, the main point that you want is you want your 1-to-1 to overlap your 45-degree angle. Now, say if you didn't want to snap to the candle, you just want it, that 1-to-1 to overlap with your 45-degree trend line. And from here, you could come out and look and say, okay, what do we got? How did this work out? Well, you can see we found support here, found resistance here. Not much else on that line coming up here. We definitely had some support. We came down a little past, but we basically hugged this line for a while before it turned into resistance. I mean, you can even come over here. Look, we got some resistance on this steep one. Another resistance over here on the 1-to-2. Swing by this way a little bit. Found some support. Dipped through a couple times, but generally speaking, we supported all the way up to the, the little dip, the crash over here for a while. Came through and almost had some resistance. It got close. Came down again, close enough support right there. Same thing as we're just bouncing off of this line. Got rejected. Tried again. Got rejected. Finally pushed through, ran out of gas, came back. Found support again before pushing all the way through. Resistance. And you can see what I'm talking about here. I mean, if you want to talk about a trend line right here, I mean, that is quite a bit of confirmation for how much that came into play. Now, obviously, we ran out. This is our 8-to-1 down here. So we don't have any more lines down here, which doesn't help us in, the present time. Now, when Gann used to do this stuff back in the day, and he wrote about it, and I've seen somebody else mention it, he also mentioned one thing you could do is start from your bottom one, and rather than taking the 1-to-1 to the 45, use the 1-to-4. In this case, you're going to have to kind of overlap it by eye a little bit. So it's hard to see, but your 1-to-4 is this line right here, which is now overlapping the 45 or the old 1-to-1. And I'm going to hide the old 1-to-1 real quick just so you can see this. And if we come and see how it worked out again, now our 1-to-2 is up here acting as support and resistance. But now we've got some more lines down here back around where we're at the moment. And as you can see, found support, found support, found support. Came up, had resistance right in that area. Again, support in that area. Some resistance right there. And obviously, you know, if we're looking to do this stuff around like our current time frame, you're going to want to do this a lot closer over here, or you're going to want to do it from top down. But just to show you as a quick example, what you can also do, since you have these two lines right here, makes it a little bit easier. You could do it without them, but go back to your Gann fan, move your crosshairs over the intersection of those two lines, or you could line up, you know, those dotted lines with your high here and your low there, which you're going to have to do for the second part unless you draw two more lines. So if I line up the dotted lines with the swing high and swing low, in this case it doesn't match up too great because that's our 1-to-1. But if I were to, you know, yeah, I'd have to draw them in order to get the 1-to-4 because otherwise we'd just be out here in space. But you could do that as well, especially if you're doing, you know, both of them as 1-to-1s. And then you can look for, you know, intersections, little convergence points. Like again, found support here. We got found resistance there. And a little bit of resistance there. Support there. Yeah, resistance. Definitely support right there. Now, obviously, it doesn't translate out into that area, but you get the point. So that is the Gann fan, ladies and gents. Tell you what, let's oh, by the way, we're on the Litecoin chart. I just wanted to pick something different from Bitcoin, but I wanted something that had a further price history. Now, when you go to do another one in a different spot, you're going to want to unlock that price, your scale ratio right there. So now if you were to zoom out, now you see, okay, we're just zooming the time. And you independently move the price scale. But let's say, what say ye? Let's do it from up here and try to angle it downward and see how it works out with what we got going on recently. So I'm going to take our fancy trend line tool here. I'm going to snap to the high, snap my fingers, and do my step. And I think I'm going to pick, you know, just to make it a little more visible here, I'm going to pick this low right here. So we're going from that high to that low, so you can see by the trend line. Come up here, hold shift again, come to that candle, snap it in. Come on. All right, hold shift again, come up to that level. And I'm going to draw the whole box this time just to show you guys. Match it up with the swing low. And there we go. And match it up with that. So now we have our nice handy dandy little box. Again, going to want to do your trend angle. Snap to the same spot. Make sure you're in the same spot. Hold shift. You're going to want to go past that point. And you can see we're pretty close already. So if I zoom in here. Oh, okay, if I zoom in too much, I got to make that longer. But and we'll try to line these up as best we can. Okay. Let's say that's good. Before we do anything else, don't want to zoom in or out, or you're going to throw it off again. Lock your price to bar ratio. Now we can do our zoomies without mucking it up. And now we can, again, go back to our Gann fan. Snap it up. And you can either just line it up with that 45 degree, or in this case, you can snap it to the bottom of that swing low candle. Oh, and like a little general rule that they say is if you are below your 1-to-1 line, that you are in a bear market or at least a bear trend. And if you are above your 1-to-1, you are bullish. In this case, obviously, it doesn't really seem too bullish because we're basically just going sideways. But it's just kind of like a rule of thumb, if you will. So let's take this guy here. And it might not be great that we're so far away from this point since we're looking in this area, but let's see how it plays out. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to throw another one down in this corner. And since we drew the whole box, all I have to do is just line it up with that intersection, if I can get it. Boom. Let's take a little look. Right there, obviously, first thing jumps out at you. Big support right there. Big support right there. A little bit of I'd say this leans a little more towards support right here. If we were to, zoom in, go to a smaller time frame or something, you could see where we're coming up hitting resistance, coming back hitting supports, just flopping and groping along that line right there. Yeah, close enough resistance there. Oh, and once you get to this point and they have been drawn, you can unlock your ratio and stretch it out a little bit. Obviously, it's going to throw off your 45 degree line, but you could get a nicer look here. You can see that uptrend right along that. A little bit of a reversal right on that. Support right there. Play it along that line. Hit resistance there. Big support there. Bunch of support all along that line. You get the point. Yeah. Played hopscotch on that line for a minute. Dropped down to this one. Just got this cascading waterfall going on around these lines here. A little bit below this 8-to-1 over here. Now, if you get it back to where your 45 intersects again, lock it back up. If you were so inclined, you could take your 1-to-4, use that as your intersection. And the way he was doing this back in the day, especially hand drawn, is he would actually take this distance right here, carry it out 4 places, and then intersect the 1-to-1 out with that point, like right where the cursor's at now. Why he did this, I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I read that, but he did talk about it, and there are cases where you will absolutely see it come into play. And obviously it stretches your lines out to a further area, a little bit better for more like sideways action. That tough actin, tenactin. Just out of curiosity, let's see what happens when we pull this one down there. What do we get? What do we get? Whoops. Okay, coming up pretty much in a little channel of them right now. Got support down there, resistance up there. Not too much over here. That's kind of just free balling over there. And again, you know, a lot of the lines will overlap in the same places, really. But you almost find other support and resistance for some of them that don't overlap with the, you know, the previous just straight 1-to-1. I guess you could call this like a 4-to-1 ratio Gann fan, if you will. But that is it. And obviously you've got, you know, all your nice little settings. You could turn your background colors on. That apparently I don't have. Oh, yeah, there we go. So yeah, you turn your fancy little colors on if you're so inclined. Get your crisscross kaleidoscope going. Your laser light show. Playing EDM music. Watching the lasers from the Gann fan play across your chart on a magical evening. But that's it. You know, I was going back and doing a refresher, watching some of these YouTube videos where people were explaining how to do the Gann fan. And oh my gosh, dude, it, like, you want to talk about like mind-numbingly boring. It is unbelievable. Like, even for like some of the crypto YouTubers, they're kind of obscure. I mean, not saying nothing, so am I. But they're doing these like how-to videos on these indicators and technical analysis. I swear it was a 20-minute video and I had to fast forward to the 14-minute part, like just kept skipping like 15 seconds at a time. Had to go all the way to the 14-minute mark just to get to where they were actually drawing something. I mean, jeez. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not trying to go 15 minutes before you actually get to what the hell the video is about. That's a bit much. I mean, unless you got some like nicely produced intro that is funny but also has a little bit of action going on and keeps the viewer interested. You know, that's one thing. The fun intro videos are enjoyable, but usually those they never even go past like a minute or two. Like what? Like Demo Ranch classic intros. Anyways, you know, if you guys have any questions, if you like these, if you think I do a decent job of it, because I'm not just, you know, spending 30 seconds per each place that you have to click. I'm still worked up about that. I mean, dude, come over here and like hover and talk for a minute before he clicks this, and then come down and blah 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 blah. Finally come to the Gann fan. Blah, 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 blah. Oh wait, nope, escape. Oh yeah, the reason you gotta do this, like, I tried to keep the explanations as short as I could, but at the same time, like, give you a little bit more in depth than just being like, click here, click, click, click here. There you go. Have a nice day. So, yeah, let me know which other ones that you want to go over or you're curious about, or maybe you saw somebody else doing and you're not really sure how it works. Holler at your boy. We'll get it done. We'll show you how to do it. We'll have a good time. Who knows? Maybe we'll get another little laser light show going, have a little party in the chat. But on that note, hope you all have a fantastic day, evening, or morning, beautiful YouTube viewers. Love y'all. Keep coming back. Peace.